Hello, my name is Ciandra Gaston, and I'm a graduate assistant with the Office of Academic and Career Planning. I'm going to give you a brief overview of the test taking strategy workshop that was completed today, Sunday, October 17th. To begin, we did a SWOT analysis. SWOT stands for strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. Strengths are the things that you are already doing well. So, what's working? What do you already do? What strategies do you already have? Weaknesses. What are some challenges you're facing? What is the root cause of those challenges? Opportunities. What options are available to you and what can you add to your routine to help you prepare for exams? And threats. Test anxiety, cramming, a lack of planning are all threats to your success when it comes to taking and passing an exam. For your strategies that work, think about the things that you already do that feel successful for you. So, what strategies do you have, and have you been using them for a while? And how have you seen them have an impact positively on your test taking experience? Keep in mind that your strategy should remain flexible. There's some things that you already do well, but you should remain adaptable and try new techniques in order to make sure that you can be successful. Weaknesses. Think about what happens for you before you even take an exam. For me personally, before I take any exam or major assessment, I get tired or lazy, or sometimes I just feel uninspired, and it'll stop me from moving forward. I just freeze. I try to exist at the assignment. I try to pretend that the assignment doesn't exist. I think about all the other things that I could be doing or want to be doing that aren't the assignment, and the root cause of that is drawn back to a narrative about myself or the material. Sometimes I think that I can't do well or I won't get the grade that I want to get. Sometimes I feel like the material isn't important. It's not relevant to what I'm learning, and it just doesn't feel like it's going to be useful for me to complete the assignment. All of those things that happen for me and maybe happen for you are weaknesses. Once you figure out what the story is that you're telling yourself, you can start telling yourself a different story and make an improvement. For the O, we have some areas of opportunity. If you have a pen or a pencil, or even if you're watching this recording and you want to pause and come back to this is the sweet spot. These are the strategies that you can apply to help you in moving forward and developing stronger test taking strategies. Before the exam, you want to start by setting a study plan. More often than not, you know when your exams are scheduled for, and you can set a study plan at least 2 weeks in advance to give you dedicated time on studying the materials. It's most useful to spend time studying the concepts you're unfamiliar with or the things that have been a challenge for you. Then you want to move to reviewing or doing a quick overview of the things that you already know. It can be a helpful strategy to create a study plan with specific days and times that you'll study. It can also be helpful to make a list, draw a line down a sheet of paper. On one side, write all of the things that you already know well. On the other side, write down the things that are a challenge for you, the things that you've been struggling with, and figure out what you're going to start with. As I mentioned before, starting with the things that you are struggling with is a really useful way to help develop your skills. The next thing that you have here on the slide is to make sure that you preview the test. What this means is you may be able to look at a study guide that your professor provides. You may be able to think back to previous exams that you've taken and look at those resources as a way for you to gain some insight on the exam. Think about the amount of questions, the style of the questions. Are they open ended? Are they multiple choice? Are they short answer? And use that to help you think critically about what you can expect on the exam. This will also inform that study plan that I mentioned. Once you know what to expect on the exam, it helps you figure out what you should be studying and how you should be studying or quizzing yourself. Next, you have talk to someone. So talk to your peers or a professor to review the concept. If there's someone in your class who knows the information really well, there's a teacher's assistant in the class, if there's SI sessions, if there's any way that you can talk to someone before the exam to get the help that you need, that'd be really helpful in your study plan and helping you prepare. Finally, you want to think positively. Often, as I mentioned before, one of the weaknesses that we can have is our mindset. We're thinking very specifically about how we're going to perform on an exam, giving ourselves some anxiety or some worries. If you write your fears down as it relates to the exam or to the material that you're studying, and then you throw it away or you rip it into pieces, that helps get the negative thoughts out of your brain and helps you move forward. Now you move to during the actual exam. It's the day of the exam, you show up, and there's a couple of things here that you want to make sure that you do. The first thing being to breathe. There's an option for you to take a deep breath before you even begin the exam. A strategy that I like to use is a 4x4 strategy. So you exhale all of the air out of your body for 4 seconds, you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold your breath for 4 seconds, and then you exhale again for 4 seconds. Following this strategy will help calm your central nervous system, so your palms will start sweating, your breath and your heart will start racing, and you will be at a place of overall calm. Try this strategy during your next exam and see if it helps calm you down. Another thing that you want to do during the exam is read the instructions carefully. Make sure that you read them, understand them, maybe even underline or circle the key verbs that are telling you what it is that you should be doing in each question. This will give you an opportunity to make sure that you don't miss key points or key material on the exam by misreading the instructions and getting something wrong. The next thing that we have here is to move on. Don't allow one question to hold you back. It is very easy to get stuck on one question, but as things are timed and there's a specific limit for how long you can work on things, if you spend too much time on one question, you'll miss an opportunity to show your strength and your knowledge on another question that maybe you missed because you run out of time. Last but not least, here, you want to trust your instincts, especially when it comes to multiple choice questions. More often than not, our first answer is the correct answer. There's actual data to support that when we second guess ourselves, the second answer that we choose is the one that is incorrect. So trust yourself and choose the first answer as the only answer because it's correct. After your exam is over, there's a couple of things that you should do to make sure that you continue learning. First, you want to review the test materials for any gaps in your understanding. Think back to that study plan where you made a list of the things that you know for sure and the things that you're struggling with. If anything on the list of the things that you know for sure you got incorrect on the exam, you want to make sure you make a note of that. So that way you don't continue in your incorrect thinking for future exams. You also want to make sure for the things that you did know better than you anticipated, you move that to the other side of the list. So it reflects that you do know this material and don't need to spend as much time on it in future exams. The review may happen in class. So if you have an opportunity to ask your professor questions or to connect with a peer, make sure you do that. Next, you want to analyze your results. Think about the results that you were intending for the exam versus what you actually achieved and decide what to do. Where was there a gap in your study plan? Where was there a gap in your understanding? So you can figure out how to fill that gap for future exams. Next, you want to keep your study materials. There's a cumulative assessment at the end of the semester, like a final exam or a final project. Having your study materials will be really impactful because it'll help you as you move forward throughout the semester. Especially if you're using the study materials, as I mentioned, to update and review concepts that either you really understand or things that you're still struggling with, you'll be able to keep a track record of your learning throughout the semester. And finally, you should talk to a professor or to a fellow student in the class to fill in the gaps. If there's someone that did really well on the assessment, make sure you connect with them to figure out what it is that they did. Now, think back to the weaknesses that you covered a couple of slides ago. How can you match your weaknesses to an area of opportunity either before, during, or after the exam? Take this opportunity to make that clear match. You can rewind the video, you can go back to that screenshot or take a screenshot of it and make sure that you find a clear match between your weaknesses and a strategy that you can apply either before, during, or after the exam. I hope this was a helpful opportunity for you to review some of the key test taking strategies. If you have any additional questions, please take an opportunity to either Email me at cdgaston@barton.edu or schedule an appointment with me. You can send me an email to receive the link to directly make an individual appointment with me. I'm happy to discuss the study plan for you, talk about how to develop some skills in studying, time management, or even how to work through some procrastination. Thank you, and I hope to connect with you soon.